How is it going? Thank you for tuning in this video. Today, I'm here to discuss my time attending AEW Dynamite as well as Rampage from March 8th at the Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right into things. Now, if you guys have not seen my last two videos, I do recommend doing so. I cover my time attending AEW Dynamite, Rampage, as well as Revolution from this past week in San Francisco. So go ahead and check those two videos out if you guys are interested. All right, now dive right into things. Not much of a backstory about going to the show. I picked up my girlfriend. We went straight to our parking, then went straight to the arena, and that was pretty much it. So not much of a backstory about going to the show. The merch line had nothing interesting, pretty much everything, if not less than what they were offering the last couple shows I just went to. So nothing I got the merch stand. We got some food and then went straight to our seats. So we made some great time. You know, last couple shows I've gotten there, pretty much missed majority of like the pre-show stuff, which I consider the dark tapings like the pre-show, I guess, portion of these events. So I typically miss majority of those tapings, but I actually made great timing for this show. I think I only missed really the first match or two that they taped, because when I was getting food, they were airing the matches on the Tron, surprisingly, which I didn't expect. Not the Tron, but the screens like in the concourse area. So I was kind of surprised by that. And Maria Shafir was having a match, so I didn't really watch it, but that was the match that I walked in on them having. And so like I said, we got our food, and after that went straight to our seats, which were front row seats. Very, very excited to have gotten those. They're pretty much the exact same seats we had when we had SmackDown front row back in 2019. So yeah, they were phenomenal seats. Absolutely loved them. Couldn't have been any better if you asked me, you know. And honestly, I wasn't even intending to get front row for this show. I was gonna buy 100s, but when I was getting tickets, I noticed, oh shit, front row seats are available. Let me just see how much they were. And they honestly weren't as expensive as I thought they were going to be. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? Let me live a little bit. And I got front row, and I was, it definitely was worth it. I had a great time at the show, being front row and seeing everything and just screwing around with the wrestlers as well. So definitely was worth it to me. And yeah, just had a great time, like I said, with those seats. And yeah, we got there as soon as Brian Cage's match was finishing. He was wrestling somebody and his match finished. So we got there as soon as Brian Cage's match was finishing, and we were able to witness the rest of the tapings for Dark after that. So the first match we actually saw were the Butcher and the Blade taking on, I think, Vinny Massaro. I know he's somewhat popular, and I forgot who his tag team partner was, but it was a typical squash. Butcher and the Blade got the victory very, very quickly. And following that, we had Athena taking on Inder Mundi, I believe her name was. I didn't really catch it. There's one thing I've noticed at the shows last week I went to. Sometimes the microphone like is very, very fainted, so you can't really hear much of what's being said, especially during promos. And it gets real bad during promos sometimes. I believe this person, she was part of the WWE India spectacle thing they did like a couple years ago. So I'm pretty sure she's a part of that. But yeah, she wrestled Athena. Another fairly quick match with Athena easily getting the win. Best Friends took on Starboy Charlie, and I forgot who his tag team partner was, but people were chanting for Starboy Charlie, and someone actually had a sign that said signed Starboy Charlie in the front row as well. So another quick match. And then the final match of the Dark tapings had the Lucha Bros taking on Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth. Huge pop for Lucha Bros. Everyone's going crazy for them. I actually was able to get a hand slap from Phoenix. Penta, it was kind of funny. Penta was going around, and as soon as the corner came to where my girlfriend are at, he just like stopped and went to the ring. I'm like, oh, Penta, you just had to do me like that, right, man? But all in all, the match itself was actually fine. One spot that I'm actually looking forward to rewatching, because I want to see how it turned out. One spot, obviously, if you've been to an AEW show, when you sit front row or sit the floor in general, they say, hey, just let you know, if you're at floor seats, you're at risk at whatever the hell happens. And we're sitting there, and obviously we have our food, and I had my drink, not against the thing, but like kind of in front of it. And I can tell, like, uh-oh, someone's getting thrown. And I think it was Ryan Nemeth. He Irish whipped Phoenix into the barricade right in front of my girlfriend and I. And as soon as it happened, I immediately grabbed the water, because I knew if I didn't grab it, that water for sure would have been all over the floor. So I immediately grabbed the water. We sat there, and that barricade went plunging towards us, man. Like, it was like to our knees. I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that. So that was a great spot. Looking forward to, you know, watching that on YouTube to see how that spot came out. But yeah, that was really the only real noteworthy thing about that. And then, you know, Lucha Bros ended up getting the win, you know, a few minutes later. So for the few matches I saw on Dark, obviously they were all very quick, because that's how Dark is. It was entertaining, and it was a good way to start the show, I thought. And then, if you've been watching my last few videos, you know the one thing I love talking about at these shows are TK promos. Yes, before Dynamite, of course, started, we had Tony Khan coming out, thanking everybody, saying how excited he was to finally be here in Sacramento for AEW, and was looking forward to a great show. Your typical, probably, Tony Khan promo you get every show, but I will not stop mentioning it enough. It will always make me pop and laugh when Tony Khan is just screaming into the mic for no reason whatsoever. He comes across hilarious. My girlfriend pointed it out that he sounds like a South Park character. And I think that's probably why I laugh so hard, because he just sounds ridiculous like a South Park character when he's screaming. So yeah, that was, always gotta mention TK's promos. Now, jumping into Dynamite, we open up with the AEW All-Atlantic Championship being defended. Orange Cassidy taking on Jay Lethal. This was a very good opening match here. I wasn't expecting this match to be as good as it was, but I thought these two went out there and put on a great match. It was great back and forth action, a lot of great counters and reversals. I thought the storytelling was great in terms of the body work. You know, Jay Lethal just working on Orange Cassidy's leg to the point where he did like 15 elbow drops in a row to his leg, and then Orange Cassidy working on Jay Lethal's arm to kind of isolate that actually came into play towards the finish. I thought both men went out there and had a really fun, entertaining opening match, and definitely was a great way to get the crowd hot and really invested into the show. Came to finish, Jay Lethal looked like he was winding up on the victory, was going for the lethal injection, but when he went for it, his arm gave out on the handspring because his arm was being worked on by Orange throughout the entire match. So he gave out on that, and Orange saw an opportunity, hit the Orange Punch. 1, 2, 3. Orange Cassidy retains the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. Like I said, very good match to start the show. And afterwards, Jay Lethal, you know, faked out attacking Orange Cassidy with the fake award. I forgot what award it was, but the fake award that they carry around. And as he's doing that, from behind, right next to my girlfriend and I, comes freaking Jeff Jarrett. Double J hitting the stroke on Orange Cassidy. And then a spot that I popped huge for, Jeff Jarrett takes the chair and just smashes it through the knee of Orange Cassidy that Jay Lethal was working on the entire match. Just the way that spot was handled, just the way the guitar perfectly went through his knee. I thought that looked excellent. I thought that was absolutely awesome. So great stuff there. And of course, Jeff Jarrett runs off because best friends come out to make the save for Orange Cassidy. And obviously that'll lead into a match for next week, which I'll kind of discuss later on when they do the rundown for next week's lineup. So yeah, like I said, great opening match. I popped huge for Jarrett. I was even chanting for him when he was doing the run-in. So yeah, really good stuff to start the show. Powerhouse Hobbs had an interview backstage, pretty much just said that Wardlow had all his stuff stolen, and tonight he's going to steal the last thing from him, which is the TNT title. Just cold stuff, man. This guy got his stuff legit stolen, and you're going to cut promos saying that you're going to take the last thing from him that he has. Cold, but great stuff. Absolute Ricky Starks comes out for a promo and doesn't really say much. He just says that, you know what, he's done with Jericho, and the question is not necessarily what's next for him, but where's he going to go next, or whatever the way he said it. He said it very weird, and it confused pretty much everybody, I think, for the most part, how he phrased it. But that led to the Bullet Club music hitting, which I popped for at first. I'm like, oh shit, who the hell is in Bullet Club is going to come out and, you know, confront Ricky? And then out of nowhere, Juice Robinson comes out and attacks Ricky Starks. And I wasn't let down by Juice Robinson because I've always liked Juice Robinson, but I just completely and utterly forgot he was in AEW because AEW just is at that, they just have a flooded roster right now where they just can't use like half the people they even have, it seems like. So everyone gets lost and shuffled very, very quickly. So I kind of forgot about Juice Robinson, but you know, I'm glad he's finally doing something, and I think him and Ricky Starks can have a pretty good program. Wardlow was being interviewed backstage, and he pretty much cut a promo saying, you know what, since I don't have any gear, I just have regular clothes, why not make this match tonight into a Falls Count Anywhere match so we can pretty much fight anywhere and just wear regular clothes. So I was for it. I was looking forward to a Falls Count Anywhere because I'm like, hey, these guys can go all around the arena, so I don't mind it by any means. So that made me more excited for the match, if anything. The next, we had Ruby Soho come out for an interview with Renee Paquette, and honestly, I mean, it wasn't a bad promo, but it's your typical heel turn promo where, you know, I mean, what she said was making sense. It was logical, but it wasn't a promo I haven't heard a million times already. It was, oh, you people turned on me, you started cheering other people over me, blah, blah, blah. The same old shit we've heard from, like, every heel turn ever in wrestling, so like I said, it wasn't a bad promo, but it's just like, you're saying stuff I've heard a million times from a million other people. I don't care. Which of course led to her match with Skye Blue, and honestly, this match just felt like it dragged on. Like, I was expecting a squash match. I was like, okay, Ruby just turned heel, she's probably gonna beat her real quick. No, it was like a legit, I mean, it honestly felt like 10 minutes, so it was probably like a 5-minute match, if anything. But I mean, I'm not mad that it was a legit match, but to me, it's just like, I don't know. It's just one of those situations where, like, I feel like this would have been fine being a squash, or at least like a minute or two. It didn't need to go on for several minutes, if you ask me. It wasn't a bad match or anything, but it's just like, all right, I'm waiting for the next thing. I don't really need to see this. I don't care for it. I want to see the next match. So no disrespect for them, like, but I didn't care for the match, and most people weren't into it either. Ruby Soho just took her time with Skye Blue, and no one really gave a shit, honestly. So it was what it was. Ruby Soho got the win with the Destination Unknown on Skye Blue at the win, which, you know, everyone figured that was going to happen. So whatever. And then afterwards, you know, you had Saraya and Toni Storm come out. They did the whole L thing on Skye Blue. But as they were doing that, Willow tried to come out and talk sense into Ruby Soho, but then Toni and Saraya attacked her, which Ruby would join in and attack her as well, and they just put L's on her too. So the state of the women's division, AEW, not very good. Backstage, we had a very quick Hangman Adam Page interview, which he pretty much just said that he's moving on from Moxley, so not much to say about that. Fantastic video package for MJF. One thing about AEW I will say is their video packages will always be top-notch. They add a more real element to their video packages, if you ask me. I thought that's exactly what they did MJF. And speaking of MJF, I will say this. Obviously, I've made it known I don't like him. I'm not a fan of him. But I will say I was disappointed that he was not at this show, because I will say my girlfriend and I were looking forward to giving him shit. We wanted to see him come by. We were hoping to get his attention and interact with him, just to fuck with him. So the fact that he wasn't there was kind of, not upsetting, but it's kind of like, kind of let down, because I was looking forward to potentially having interaction with him to kind of screw with him and call him mid-JF, but didn't happen. Maybe next time, but it is what it is. Next, FTR come out for an interview with Tony Schiavone. Everyone loves FTR. They pretty much go over the last couple months and where their mind's been, and they essentially, you know, say that they're going to come after the Guns to get retribution for what they did to them. So yeah, great promo I thought from FTR. Glad to see them back, and I think you know, the tag team title match down the road, not the loan, with the Guns will be a pretty good one. Following that, we had a trios match with the Jericho Appreciation Society taking on Top Flight and AR Fox. This was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I will say, the Jericho Appreciation Society at ringside, it is really fun to fuck with them. This one guy behind us, he was screwing with Hager the entire time, talking about his stupid hat, calling it a Barney hat, talking so much shit to him, saying like, hey man, that's a tiny bat. You got a T-ball bat. He was just, I mean, he was doing it throughout the entire show with people, but this match specifically, he was popping me throughout the entire time. And it was just a very fun match overall. I thought there was some great tag work from JAS from the very beginning, you know, working over Top Flight until they eventually got the hot tag when I think Dante Martin monkey flipped Sammy Guevara. And then AR Fox had a great hot tag. He went absolutely roughshod. It did some great spots to the outside, and obviously it's just always a highlight to watch AR Fox. But back in the ring, Jericho and Darius Martin were going at it. They had a good exchange going back and forth. Darius almost had Jericho a few times. But towards the end, I think Matt Menard distracted the referee to the point where Jake Hager ended up hitting Darius Martin in the back with the bat, which allowed Jericho to hit him with the Judas effect. 1, 2, 3. The Jericho Appreciation Society to get the victory. Like I said, fun match, more entertaining at ringside. Honestly, like I was watching the match, but I was more entertained by, you know, Hager being heckled by the guy, and Angelo Parker was going around talking shit too. So just the overall time at ringside was just very, very fun, and the match itself was fun as well. So then afterwards, of course, Jericho cuts a promo saying that they're naming themselves the #1 contenders for the trios titles, which, you know, I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. You know, Jericho doing something different. He's going for trios championships. I thought trios is something different for Jericho to get into. They got interrupted by the Elite, which I thought they made a great entrance because they had the lights go out, like the House of Black were to come out, because they were calling out the House of Black. But then the Elite show up on the stage, pretty much say that, you know, Don Callis pretty much says that Jericho is the second best wrestler out of Winnipeg, obviously behind Kenny Omega. And then, of course, that leads to the House of Black cutting a promo on the Tron. That leads to them coming out, which they legitimately came out of nowhere. Like, the lights went out, like, pitch black, but it was only pitch black for a few seconds, and then they were, like, just standing on the ramp. Like, there was no indication of them running out of anywhere. They just legitimately appeared out of nowhere. So I thought that was like a legit spectacle for a second to see that, even though obviously there's nothing fancy about them appearing. It was just, it seemed like they legit came out of nowhere. So I thought that was great. But yeah, obviously that sets up for a 3-way match for the trios titles next week, which should just be an absolutely fantastic match. That's going to be absolutely insane. So I kind of wish they weren't doing it right away, because to me, it kind of feels like you're just, I don't know, putting all your cards out at once. I feel like you could drag this out and build it up to, I'm not saying a bigger show, but down the line. Obviously, they're doing it next week because they want to make Winnipeg show big, and obviously Jericho and Kenny probably wanted to do a big match there, so that's probably why it's happening. I wish they would have just kind of waited it out. We got a Bryan Danielson video package, which I thought was just phenomenal. That was an incredible promo he cut. Very, very emotional, to the point where I was buying into it. I was sitting there, I was getting sad sitting there watching. I was like, man, I'm getting the press for him. So I really felt for him. I said it last week at Dynamite. He cut an incredible 3-minute promo there. He cut an incredible minute promo here. So what can't this man do? Absolutely incredible wrestler. Always love to see him. And he said it's time for him to go home. And I'm pretty sure he'll just take, you know, maybe a month or two off and come back around Double or Nothing time. I mean, I could be wrong. He could be gone longer than that. But like I said, fantastic video package promo from Danielson. Next, we had Claudio and Moxley taking on the Dark Order, them coming right by us, which I thought was great. Absolutely marked out for that. The match itself was good. It was entertaining. You know, I thought the stuff with Moxley and John Silver was really good, especially when they were just going back and forth, countering each other. And then Silver was just going on a huge just streak of just hitting a bunch of big moves, hitting the suplex on Moxley. So I thought it was good stuff. One thing though, like I said earlier about the guy heckling Hager, he was heckling the ref because of course at one point Claudio just gets in the ring when Moxley's legal and starts beating on Silver, and then the dude's like, hey, what are you gonna do your job? Claudio's not the legal man, throw him out, like what are you doing? And of course the ref just let it happen. So yeah, I thought the match itself was good. Then I saw Moxley put the rear naked choke on Alex Reynolds, who tapped out, and of course, you know, Moxley would not let go. He would keep that hold in until you know, John Silver tried to make the save, but once he did that, Claudio and Yuta kind of jumped him, and you know, all of them started jumping him until Evil Uno came out to even the score, but then he ended up getting his ass beat, so it didn't really matter. Then Hangman and Page came out. Just a huge brawl erupts, which leads to, you know, Blackpool Combat Club, you know, retreating, and as they're retreating, you know, Claudio grabs a pipe, which was actually, it wasn't even really a pipe, it was like a little piece that holds the guardrails together. They take it out to open it for Moxley's entrance, and they put it back in to close it, or to hold it close. And when he picks it up, you can actually hear me. It's pretty fainted, but you can hear me in on Dynamite. When he picks it up, you can hear me go, Claudio, chill out, bro. You can hear me. So just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, you know, they retreat, they walk back, and yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to build up for like a, I don't even know what kind of match they would have, but I don't know. I just wish AEW would just end stuff. Like, you had Adam Page saying he's done with Moxley, then he's making the save. I know he's associated with Dark Order, but it's just like, come on, move on. That's the one thing in AEW that I just sometimes seems impossible to do, and that is move on. It seems like nothing ever moves on from something, or people don't move on from feuds, it seems like. So I don't really care to see more of Blackpool Combat Club and Dark Order in the future, but nonetheless, like I said, the match itself was fun. And then after that, we had a interview on the Tron with the Acclaimed, and of course, you know, Jericho Appreciation Society came out with Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, trying to, I guess, get them to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. Not really too sure, but I will say, JS and the Acclaimed, that is at least something fresh and different. So if that were to be a thing going on in the future, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, it was pretty much a quick little segment, I think, just to get, you know, the Acclaimed on the show. Then following that, of course, we had the lineup for Rampage, which was being taped after the show. With initial thoughts on the lineup, I'm like, nothing really worth staying for, but you know what, I'll get in the Rampage later on, obviously. And they were also writing down the card for next week's Dynamite, and everyone was confused out of their mind when they showed the Orange Cassidy and Jeff Jarrett graphic, and it said AEW International Championship match. Everyone's like, what the fuck? It's the Atlantic Championship. When the hell did it become the International Championship? Because apparently they aired a video, or they aired a segment on Dynamite with Tony Khan, where he announced the name change for that title to the international title. Did not air in the arena for whatever reason. I don't know why, but yeah, in terms of the name change from All Atlantic to International, I mean, I don't think anyone really cared for the All Atlantic name to begin with, but to me, it's like when you bring a title and you're already making changes to it when it hasn't been around for a year, you know, especially the name, you're changing the name of it when it hasn't been around for a year. To me, it's like you're already devaluing the championship, and I don't think anyone really cares for that title to begin with. It's more of just like to me, that title is like the definition of a prop. Like, we like you, we're gonna give you a title to hold around for a while until we want to give someone else that title. You know, that's the theme in AEW, seems like, with some of their championships, which I'll get to in a second with the main event. Yeah, I just thought it was very confusing to see that graphic and them have no explanation to the crowd, at least, to how that happened. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the international name change. It's fine. The international title, that's a fine name to me. And then, of course, we proceed to the main event, which was a Falls Count Anywhere match for the TNT Championship. Wardlow, the brand new TNT champion, defending against Powerhouse Hobbs, who, of course, won the Face of the Revolution ladder match last week on Dynamite. Of course, the match immediately starts backstage on a car, signaling the fact that Wardlow's car got broken into and stuff got stolen. So I thought it was very poetic for them to start on a car, their brawl. But yeah, it was good backstage fighting. You know, people were getting very impatient around me, chanting bullshit, because I think they thought the entire match was going to be backstage. I'm like, obviously they're going to build to them coming out into the crowd. So I don't know why people were getting so impatient so quickly with that. But yeah, good stuff backstage. Brawl, you know, Wardlow just throw him through, you know, a wall, made their way out to the arena, of course. And then they just did some great spots once they got towards the ring area, like with Wardlow hitting a swanton through a table on the Powerhouse Hobbs, and then absolutely just giving him a power bomb onto the ramp, which I thought was very vicious. Just all in all, just two big guys going out there, just giving two big blows to each other after another. And I thought for what it was, I thought it was good. You know, was it an amazing match by any means? No. But I thought for the short time they had too, this match started with like 10 minutes left of the show, so I didn't get a whole lot of time. but I thought for the time it got and the stipulation and, you know, what they were able to accomplish, I thought it was a very fun, entertaining match. And of course, finish came. They're fighting by the commentator table, and out of nowhere, someone comes out and just hits Wardlow with the chair. And at first, I couldn't tell who it was, and someone by me was like, "Oh shit, it's Joe, it's Joe!" And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Wait a minute, who the fuck is that?" And then we all came to the realization that it's QT Marshall. Yay, just who we need to see more of on AEW TV. I mean, I know he hasn't been on TV very often lately, but there's a reason for that. But yeah, he comes out to help Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs, I believe, power bombs Wardlow after that off the stage through a little, not even like a container, it's like, you know, like the platform area. Throws him power bombs through that. And AEW, the Falls Count Anywhere stipulation was weird because, like, it's not just pin. You can either get a pin, a submission, or a surrender. They say the phrase was surrendering, or a knockout. So it's like you have 3 different ways to win a Falls Count, which I thought was just kind of weird. Why not just make like a last man standing or whatever? But yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs wins by knockout to become the brand new TNT champion. Was not expecting that. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that, you know, since they brought him back so hot, you know, why not give him the title? But since Wardlow just won it, I don't think people really thought they were gonna favor Hobbs over Wardlow for the title. But yeah, I was definitely surprised by that. That TNT title, man, I don't know what the hell they're doing with that thing. They keep flip-flopping it back and forth on people. There's been like, what, 20 title changes within the last, like, what, it's only been around for not even 3 years, and I feel like there's been like 20 title changes already. So I don't know if they're doing that TNT title, man, but they gotta put that on someone, have it stick to him for a while and make it mean something, because that title is just the transitional network title, as far as I see it as of now. That's what TNT stands for, transitional network title. So yeah, it is what it is, but it was a fun main event. I enjoyed it. Powerhouse Hobbs, the brand new TNT champion. I thought it was a good way to end Dynamite. And overall, the Dynamite portion was a good show. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was enjoyable. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into Rampage. So first off, it took them like 15 minutes to get into the Rampage taping because they were just setting the ring up and setting everything up. And it just took a long process, I felt like, for them to set up Rampage. I felt like by the time Rampage even started, it was almost pushing 7:30 by the time the show actually started. So I was kind of surprised and kind of taken back by how long it took them to get to taping Rampage. But, you know, it's not a complaint. It was just more of I thought it'd be a quick transition to begin taping in. I don't know what Tony Khan thinks, but their way of taping is very weird. They tape everything out of order, and I'll explain later on, or as I go through the matches that were taped. So the first thing we got was the Acclaimed taking on Jake Cartwheel and Starboy Charlie. Obviously, it was a squash match with the Acclaimed. I will say this. I got to scissor with the Acclaimed. Yes, I'm not ashamed to admit that. Bones is going around. I mean, Bones and I kind of did a half-ass one because I wasn't really paying attention because Billy Gunn was like right by me. So when Bones was going around, he kind of like threw one up real quick. So I kind of caught like a half-ass, you know, barely like that scissor from Bowens, but I was like, I'll take it, whatever. And then Caster was going around and he was scissoring people based off their shirts because the guy next to me, he's gonna go for it. It's like, no, you got a Young Buck shirt, hell no. And he goes to me and he takes a minute to look at it. He's like, yeah, you're fine, because I was wearing this shirt right here, which obviously is a Danielson MJF shirt. So I'm like, I mean, it's not you, but it's not against you as well, so you can't really hold me against it. So it took him a second and he's like, you're fine. And he ended up giving me the scissors. So yeah, I scissored with the Acclaimed, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. And after that, we had Riho taking on Nyla Rose, which was confusing by the announcement because when they're making their entrance, Justin Roberts made sure to say that, oh, this bout is set with TV time remaining. So obviously it's like, okay, this match is going to be airing last on the show, but why wouldn't you just have it happen last? Why are you taping it second? It just didn't make any sense at all. But the match itself was good. I actually thought it was a good match. Nyla Rose was very dominant over Riho almost the entire match. She was pretty much kicking her ass. Riho had some small opportunities against Nyla, but was quickly shut down. Marina Shafir got involved a handful of times. But yeah, I thought it was solid. It kind of felt like it went on too long, which, by the way, I will say this. All the Rampage matches, minus the Acclaim match, they all went pretty long. To the point where I'm like, how the hell are you going to fit this all in an hour? Like, each match felt like it went on at least 10 minutes, which I understand Rampage is more of a wrestling show, so they can obviously fit it all in there, no problem, probably. But I don't know. It felt like the show was more than an hour for them taping it. So I just kind of caught off guard, you know, by how much time the matches were given. And like I said, Nyla Rose and Riho got plenty of time. Like I said, understandable, since it's probably going to be the main event airing. And, well, it is going to be the main event because, like I said, during the introductions, it said with TV time remaining. So is what it is. The finish was kind of fucked up where Riho was trying to transition the crucifix pin on Nyla, but when Nyla landed, she fucked the landing up, and the bottom line is Riho wasn't able to get the pin on her, so they had to go another route, I think, and Riho ended up getting a roll up on her to get the win. So Riho gets a victory over Nyla Rose, but afterwards they are attacked, beat down, or Rio's attacked and beaten down by Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir, and as they leave, out comes Saraya as well as Toni Storm and Ruby Soho to write the L on Riho. Why? I don't know, and they basically just leave. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck Tony Khan's doing with the women's division, but like I said in my Revolution review, Saraya, she is not adding to your division. If anything, she is honestly kind of ruining it. So, sorry. Mark Briscoe came out, cut a promo. He pretty much came out and said, you know what, Tony Khan and him had a conversation earlier where Tony pretty much said, you know what, hey, you're the ROH World Tag Team Champions. What do you want to do about the tag team titles? And Mark Briscoe said, you know what, I got an idea. Supercard of Honor in LA, let's do a reach for the sky ladder match for the ROH World Tag Team titles with multiple teams. The first team that he introduced was going to be in it were the Lucha Bros. They came out to a great pop, and I thought it was a great little celebration, a moment there for Mark. Really excited for that. I won't be attending Supercard of Honor in LA because I will be going to WrestleMania weekend. I won't be attending that show, unfortunately, but I do think a reach for the sky ladder match sounds absolutely fantastic, and definitely is a great way to pay tribute to Jay Briscoe. And then we move on to Konosuke Takeshita taking on Preston Vance. Okay, the highlight of this match for me was the fact that there is this guy on the other side of the, not the other side, but like the corner of me in front row. And I've seen this guy at a handful of shows before. Like, he's been going to a lot of shows. I can go as far back as to when I went to NXT at Aftershock in 2015. It's been a long time that this guy's been going to shows for. At least I haven't seen him at shows. And he was giving Preston Vance shit the entire time, and Preston Vance was fucking with them too. He was giving him shit. It was very entertaining. The match itself, Takeshita and Preston Vance had a really good, hard-hitting, stiff match. These two were just absolutely stiffing each other, getting some big power moves. I thought it was very enjoyable. It was probably maybe the best match on the Rampage taping, honestly. I thought it was, you know, on paper I didn't care for it, but yeah, I was kind of taken back by how much I was enjoying the match between both men. A lot of great transitions and counters, a lot of great near falls toward the end too, the point where I didn't really know who was going to win. But Takeshita was able to pull off the win. Really enjoyed that match afterwards when Takeshita was leaving. You know, Don Callis was getting to him, adding more to their storyline. So I'm very interested to see how that goes because Takeshita and Don Callis just seem so random. But it would be a pairing I would be interested to see in the future of. And then after that, we had kind of a crowd thing. There was two producers at ringside named Bob and Jared, where throughout the entire night, Justin Roberts would just say their names and the crowd would go crazy for him. Justin Roberts invited them in the ring for a rock, paper, scissors match. The first one was a draw. Second one came. Bob won with scissors. Scissor me, daddy ass. But yeah, Bob won with the scissors. So I thought that was I just thought I'd mention that, considering that was a fun little thing that happened at the event. And then we go to the final bout of the evening, as said by Justin Roberts, which was Sammy Guevara taking on Action Andretti. And like I said, going back to the weird format of their tapings, they both make their entrances, right? They're both in the ring. All of a sudden, the Rampage intro hits. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Shouldn't this aired an hour ago? And then, of course, the intro hits, the pyro goes. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why are you doing this at the end? And I'm like, okay, obviously this match is going to open Rampage on Friday, but why is it closing there? Like, to me, like, why don't you just tape things in order so that way you can just, you know, it won't be that much more editing for you in the future. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they just taped everything for Rampage out of order. Just didn't make any sense for me. But in terms of match itself, I thought Action Andretti and Sammy Guevara had a very entertaining match. I really enjoyed it. They went to the outside, which one spot I'm looking forward to watching Rampage for this one spot. Guevara goes to the outside. He eats shit right in front of me, and he's selling. And I just get up and I yell, "How's that feel, Sammy?" And he just goes, "Not good." I thought that was great. I loved it. Sammy Guevara, he's a great heel as well. I don't like Sammy Guevara, but you know what? I do respect him as a character in terms of how well he can do around. Like, he was just fucking with everybody at ringside as well. So I'll respect that kind of work when you're more interactive with people. I like that. I like the interactionness. So yeah, I thought that was a great time with them. Then at one point again, Action Andrade actually put him up on the railing right in front of me, directly right in front of me, to the point where I almost asked him, like, "You want me to hold him down for you?" I was going to ask them that, but then I think Guevara ended up switching Andretti around and, you know, chopping him into the barricade as well. So there were a few times they were brawling right by the barricade. I think, was it Guevara? Or one of them actually got Irish whipped into the barricade next to us. One of the barricade in front of us, but towards the corner on the other side. right there. So yeah, Action Andrade and Sammy Guevara, like I said, I've had a pretty damn good match. It's very enjoyable. Finish saw Garcia coming out and, you know, tossing over Action Andrade up the top ropes, which allowed Sammy Guevara to get the win over him. So yeah, pretty good match. Very entertaining, and several great spots involved. And yeah, I thought it was honestly a solid way to end the show. Even though on paper it's like, this is your main event, like you're sending us home with these two, but I thought it was a very enjoyable main event to send us home to. But yeah, Sammy Guevara gets the win, and then afterwards he's gloating with Daniel Garcia. Then as they're celebrating, Jericho comes out from commentary, and then of course they get in the ring, cut a promo, which obviously isn't going to air in the show. It's kind of a promo for the crowd. Jericho pretty much talks about how they're going to be the best trios and be the next trios champions, and then he starts talking about Sacramento, saying, you know how Like the Beam is like stupid or whatever, and just starts, you know, typical heel shit talking to town. And there was someone with a sign that said Jericho lip syncs, and Jericho goes, yeah, I lip sync with your mother. But the funny part was the person was there with their mother. They had a sign too. Oh, well, the other side of the sign said mom's first AEW show. So I was like, wow, Jericho, you're saying your mom jokes to someone whose mom's actually with them. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, they only cut like a 5-minute promo or so, which was very entertaining though. I thought it was a great way to send the crowd home. Watching Jericho be with Garcia and Sammy, like I could tell, like they're just having fun, and that's what it's all about. If they're having fun, that's all that matters. And that's what it seems like the Jericho Appreciation Society does every time they're out there, is just go out there and have fun. And that's what I kind of like about them. So yeah, Jericho talks shit and then send us home. And yeah, that was the show. That was the tapings for Dynamite as well as Rampage for this week. All in all, I had a great time at the show. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's hard to not have a lot of fun when you're at ringside, especially front row. You know, you're able to interact with the wrestlers and just, you know, have your voice heard more. You know, I'm not saying that you don't have your voice heard like when you're sitting anywhere else, but it's like when you're more close to them, you have a better chance of getting a reception from them. So it's always entertaining to be ringside, and I just had a ton of fun. I had a great time at Dynamite. In terms of shows, I thought both shows were good. I didn't think anything was bad whatsoever at these tapings. I thought everything was good and enjoyable. And yeah, I had like I said, very, very fun time. And honestly, it's giving me the AEW itch. Like, for some reason, like even in my mind, like seeing the Double or Nothing like flag in the arena, I was kind of like, man, I got kind of the itch to go to Double or Nothing because I'm on the AEW kick from the week I've had. But I'm not going to go to the Double or Nothing. I got WrestleMania week coming up still. And like I said, it's just more of the high that I'm on right now that makes you want to go to it. But all in all, great time. Very, very fun for me. And I thought it was a fantastic way to cap off a hell of a week. 4 AEW shows in 1 week. Man, very, very exhausting, but definitely very rewarding because I thought I had a great time at all the shows and had a lot of fun, and definitely have a lot of memories for me as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below. And of course, until next time, I'll see you guys, and thank you guys for watching the video.